Dad, how would you describe your trip to the Philippines for the second time?
It was a lot of fun. I don't know which one I enjoyed more. We had a second visit with our sponsor child, and that was fun too. And we did some different activities. I enjoyed all the shopping trips to the malls. You have beautiful malls over here.
We actually had several shopping trips because we were in the United States for a month, me and Imabel. And then, Dad, you bought us so much stuff. We found so many amazing deals at H&M, which H&M, they're all over the Philippines, of course, but they're actually even cheaper in the United States, and we found some outstanding deals, and you got Imabel so much cool stuff.
I had never been in that store before, so I didn't know that they had those kind of prices in there. I never had a little girl to shop for.
Thank you.
And then Travis told me that you haven't done a lot of shopping for clothes in a long time, so that was fun for me. Because you're kind of like my daughter grown up, the way I think of you.
Thank you.
And how does Imabel measure up? What is having her as a daughter like?
It's awesome. She's probably, I know probably about it really, the most giving and loving person I've ever met.
Thanks.
I'm so proud and happy to have her in the family and have her as a daughter-in-law. Like I said, I can't help kind of thinking of you as my daughter grown up, my daughter I never had. So I'm really happy to have you in the family.
Thank you, and I'm so happy to have you as my dad.
Well, that's my benefit. I'm the winner there.
How was your first trip to the Philippines when you came here 3 years ago?
Well, we weren't sure what to expect. It was a lot of fun. We didn't stay quite as long, and we ran out of time. We didn't get to do everything we wanted to do. I think we kind of ran out of time here a little bit too. There's just too much to do. But all of it was a lot of fun, and this is obviously a lot different from back home. But
how is it different from where you live in Bismarck, North Dakota?
Well, it's so much more crowded for one thing. There's so many more people, and it has a different look because it's tropical here. You know, we're not tropical. We have a lot of wide open spaces, but I always liked the tropical areas. I always wanted to go places that were tropical. One thing I miss about being back there is being able to jump in our own car and go someplace when we want to go.
Yeah.
Here you have to wait for taxis. I think you do a little bit more waiting around.
Yeah.
And your traffic is way, way heavier. I wouldn't want to really drive in it if I didn't have to. Back home you can drive without being awake every second to make sure there isn't a scooter coming up alongside you or something that you're going to plow into.
Right.
So,
how was your trip this time different than the first time?
well, I think we were better prepared for what we were going to see. I mean, having been here before, we were better prepared for the traffic.
What was it like? You spent a lot of time at the University of Santo, Tomas, which is one of the most prolific universities in the Philippines. You actually graduated from there, but it's a very famous university founded in 1611, one of the oldest universities in all of Asia. What did you think of that? Because you spent a lot of time there.
I think a lot of it. I think it has a lot of tradition, a lot of stuff I like. I think you probably get a pretty good education there. It kind of makes me wish I could go to school there. Some of the clubs we saw, you have those clubs with the activities that I would like the judo club, the taekwondo club, the fencing. I sometimes wish I was a young guy and could take advantage of some of that stuff. And of course the campus is full of very nice looking young men and very pretty girls. And who doesn't like that?
Yeah. I think one of the things that Dad loves doing on this trip is swimming. Are you gonna miss swimming?
And we have a great pool back there that you've used.
Yeah, because when we get back now, school is starting in a couple days after we get back, and that's the end of the swim season. In fact, the pools will probably be closed. They close a few days before school opens. So that'll all be over with back there. Yeah, I do enjoy playing in the water. I come from a state that gets very cold in the winter, but I'm not a winter person. I'm a summer person, so. But we do have 4 distinct seasons there. I guess you guys have a dry season and a rainy season.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. We have 3 seasons, and where we come from, we have a much wider range in temperature. In fact, I don't think there are many places in the world that have a temperature range within a year's time as wide as North Dakota does, because it can be 40 below zero in the wintertime, even without wind chill, and it can get over 100 in the summer. I don't know too many places that have a spread that wide in, say, a year's time span.
Could you name maybe top 2 or 3 highlights of this trip for you?
That Elvis show we went to, being a large Elvis fan, that was great that you got me into that. And one of the things I maybe enjoyed most was talking to the performers, including the guy who put that on, that RJ, what's his last name?
So RJ Jacinto.
Okay. And he's more my age, to share the common experiences that some of you young people don't really know what we're talking about because you weren't around at that time. But a guy like that and a guy like me, we were alive at the right time.
What else did you enjoy? Another highlight?
Well, we're going on all these shopping trips for Immabel, and we bought a few things for Aaron, which is really a big pleasure for me, because like I said, I never had a little girl to shop for. Yeah, I bought a few things for Mom, but that's not quite the same. You know, so I really enjoy getting you guys some things that I know you're going to look great in. All I ask is that I get to see you in them, even if it's only in a photograph or a video. I want to see you enjoy that stuff.
One new experience Dad had on this trip is to take the bus for 9 hours from Manila.
No, it was over 12.
Yeah.
It was
was
more
over
like
12?
to
12, oh yeah.
14 or 15.
Counted. So it was longer from Manila
It was at
to
least 12.
Legospee
It's
in
probably more like
Bicol.
14 or 15.
So how was it?
Well, they didn't let us on the plane. That was a new experience that
Even though the plane was
yeah,
here,
it would be different if the plane had left. The plane was still boarding, and that they closed their check-in early and would not let us get on. So I've been on bus rides before, not a lot of them, because I don't like to take that long of a trip. But I enjoyed that trip because, first of all, the seats were comfortable seats, much more comfortable than they were on the plane on the flight over. And until it got dark, I enjoyed seeing all the scenery. There were constant people all the way there. We were basically never in the country. Now back home, as you know, when we drive and leave town, you actually leave town and you're out where there's no people, except maybe a few farmers. Here, you're constantly going by buildings and stuff. You're never really in the country.
That's true, because when we went to South Dakota from North Dakota, that was the first time for me to see a town with population of 4 people, right?
And you had to drive 50 miles from the last town to get there.
Right.
And after you got off that long bus trip, we went to Legospee. Why don't you tell us about why we went there, why it was so important to go to Legospee?
Well, I had made arrangements. We have a sponsor child there. I've been sponsoring her for 9 years. She's now, I guess, a senior in high school. She's 16 years old, and we had visited her 3 years ago, and I figured I can't come to the Philippines and not go see her. Since I never had a daughter of my own, that's a really pleasant experience for me. That's why I enjoyed shopping, and we did take her shopping too. I got to buy her a couple of outfits, and I enjoyed that.
And yeah, it's been like 3 years since the last time, the first time that you went to go visit her. How had she changed, because she's a few years older now?
Well, one thing that surprised me, I didn't know if she would, but she must have shot up a good 4 inches. She must have grown 4 inches. She was much taller than I was expecting, because when we saw her last time, she was a little thing, and she's still a little thing, but I didn't know if she was going to get much bigger than that, because a lot of the Filipino women you see here are very small like that. And I think she's taller than her mom now, when last time she wasn't. So that kind of surprised me, that she had shot up. Normally if I was visiting somebody from America, I would expect that, but we get taller than you guys over here as a rule.
On Dad and Mom's first trip to the Philippines, and their first visit of Ruby Jane, we actually went to their village, and we had to walk and climb a hill. Like, how long was the walk? We got to visit their house, and they prepared some food for us. This time, we went to the mall and you gave them like a lunch treat.
Well,
Some
last
chicken
time,
on KFC,
last
so-
time they had a huge feast prepared for us, which we were not expecting. Most of the food I didn't know what it was because I tried a lot of it, ate a lot of different stuff. I sampled it because that's not the kind of food we eat back home. I enjoyed it, and I didn't want to put them out this time, but one of the things I wanted to do is Ruby Jane had told me her favorite food was chicken, so we write letters back and forth, and I've told her I would like to take her to Kentucky Fried Chicken. She said she would want to do that. So that's why we had them bring her to town so I could first take her shopping. And her birthday is coming up. When I buy her a birthday present, it's very hard because I have to find something small enough to mail in an envelope.
Yeah.
So all I can get is a little bit of jewelry, something for her hair. So I thought this time I can take her to the mall and get her something, you know, that I can't send in the mail. And that's what I wanted to do, that, and then take her and her family out to the Kentucky Fried Chicken place to have chicken. The funny thing about that is they didn't eat as much chicken as I thought. They went and ate rice and stuff. That other stuff that we had, you know.
Usually get full with rice.
Yeah. So that kind of surprised me because I thought we're at a chicken place, they're going to eat chicken, but they're like you, they ate rice and noodles. They did have some chicken, but I thought they'd have more of the chicken, so that surprised me.
How do you feel about meeting the family, the parents and the siblings of Ruby Jane again?
I felt very good about that, and we got their dad, I guess, a pair of jeans, and her brother, both of her brothers got to get something. We picked something out, and we picked out a nice top for her mom, but what kind of impressed me was her mom was kind of tearing up when we left, like she was actually really going to miss us, which is part of the fun, like she really appreciates what we're doing for her daughter.
Right.
You know, and that makes you feel good. So that makes the trip worth over there. Something I didn't want to miss that. I was really worried when we missed our plane tickets, like they're expecting us now, how are we going to get there? So you came to the rescue by at least getting us on a bus, and it took all day to get there, but it was worth not missing that visit.
Travis actually thought of that also, taking the bus. And I'm just so happy, and I would say I'm so proud of you and Mom, because you guys are so flexible, and you know, you just go with the flow. And
Had a good attitude about it.
You just have that positive attitude, because I was worried. I didn't really want you as much as possible to take the bus because I know how it could really be very tiring.
Yeah.
But since we didn't have any other options of flying out to Legospee, and then you guys said yes. And I was so thankful, but deep inside I was like worried because I know it wouldn't be easy and comfortable.
Well, I knew you felt bad about us missing the plane, but I looked at it this way, you know, we flew last time and we did get to fly back. So yeah. I looked at taking the bus as a different experience, an extra experience we weren't, you know, expecting, and make a positive out. And it was. The last part was tough when it got dark, because then you couldn't see anything, and I got pretty sleepy there. But the first 9 hours or so, while it was light, I enjoyed going through all those towns and just seeing what there was, and you're seeing the real country and what is the rural country. Another thing that was kind of unique was we did get to drive along the coast part of the way, and you know, we're not used to driving down the road and looking out our window and seeing the ocean.
Right.
Yeah.
We live about as far from an ocean as you can get, because we live in the middle of North America. And you got to travel, what, at least 1,500 miles or more to get to an ocean. I still remember the time you went to some wrestling camp or tournament or something, and you were talking to a kid, I think you said from California. He was asking you about North Dakota, what it was like, and you were telling him, and then he asked you the question about beaches. Do you have any beaches there? And you said to him, we're about as far from an ocean as you can get, but we do have a few lakes and rivers where you can go out to a beach.
Absolutely. And here in Manila, you got to see an image of your grandchild when we took her.
Oh yeah, that was another highlight. We got to go to your doctor's appointment and see that little baby moving around in there. And hear that heartbeat, that strong heartbeat. That was a strong heartbeat. So And we even, I think, could make out his legs, doing a little bit of shifting his legs like he was doing hack squats or something, but you know,
Well,
that was fun.
The baby didn't move at first, but I guess
Yeah.
baby decided to show
Well, I think we woke him up. Maybe we were being a little rowdy and we woke him up. I'm glad we didn't find out what it was, because I want to be surprised. I'm old-fashioned. I figure the days he or she is born, that's when I want to know what it is.
Okay.
Just as long as everything goes well with that and it comes out, I hope you have an easy delivery and all that stuff goes well, and then you can probably whatever Skype us or whatever from the hospital.
if there's
see.
internet, if there's Wi-Fi there.
You know, maybe we'll get to see him on the first day of his life.
Yeah.
I was there when my two boys were born.
Well, I asked Travis to take a video of it. I'm not sure if he'd like to be
Oh,
in
I don't know.
in the delivery
I don't know if you,
room.
I don't know if you want a video. You'd have to be a little touchy. Your wife's in a kind of a
No,
compromising.
just the baby when,
No,
it comes out.
Well, but yeah, when it comes out, you're in a little bit of a You sure you want that on the
Don't
internet?
show me, just the baby.
Well, it's pretty hard to show the baby coming out without showing you.
no,
we're
just,
not gonna
I mean,
show
just
that.
the baby when you carry the
Maybe when you catch the baby, you
Yeah.
could hold up the baby. Yeah.
No, not with me.
You can have the camera, Imabel. Like, what's your overall feeling about the Philippines now that you've spent a lot more time in the country?
There's a lot of things over here I like. There are some things, if I was going to be over here, it would take me a while to get used to, like the traffic. And hopefully if I spent some time over here, I'd know where I was. I'm starting now to recognize the places we go over and over again. I mean, your malls are so big over here that you even can get lost in the mall. If I don't actually make it a point to pay attention and we start walking around and going up and down floors, then I start thinking, let's see, where did we come in? If I had to get back to where we came in, I'm not sure where to go sometimes. I'd have to.
Very easy to get lost in
Yeah,
the mall.
I mean, you get carried away with, you start looking at something I see that I want to buy for you or something, and then you buy it and you're walking out and your mind's on that, and then you go, wait a minute, where did we come from now? You know, but yeah, you have a lot of, the inside of the buildings here are really beautiful. The outsides and stuff, some of the areas, you know, I don't know if I want to call them run down, but even if you'd call them run down or whatever, there's a certain charm about it for me. I've always wanted to come to Asia. You know, I've never been all that hep on visiting Europe.
Sure.
You know, I've always thought I'd rather go to Japan or Korea or the Philippines or whatever. I'm more into that Asian culture than I am into the European thing. Not that I would mind going over there, but I'm more into this. Kind of like you and your brother, you know, your brother's been to Rome and places like that, and he's also been to South America, which might interest me more than Europe too. But I've always been interested in Asia and the Asian culture and that kind of thing. And the Filipinos are a very good-looking race of people. Like I said, you look at all these security guards, for example. Even they have a few women's security guards, but the men are very handsome in their uniform. You know, they look really sharp and impressive, and there's, like I said, very nice-looking women all over the place. And you know, they're a good-looking culture. That's why I want some of those Filipino genes in my bloodline. So I'm going to get some.
Okay.
Very soon.
Yes, very soon. That's kind of going to be right around my birthday, so that's going to be a good birthday present for me.
Is there anything that you've seen in your first trip to the Philippines that say you really love or like, but this time you kind of change your thoughts or feelings about it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I liked it then and I like it now. I would have liked if we'd had a little more time. I know you wanted to take me out to do some of that swimming stuff, like go out to, we did do that last time when we went on the picnic. But yeah, you know, I'd be more likely to, something I've never done, parasail, rather than back home where you could go to a ski resort and snow ski. I'm not into that stuff really. I'd much rather go and play in the water.
Next time, Dad, for God's case.
I don't know if we'll make it over here again. It's so far over here, but
Well, Well, if the circumstances are favorable, would you still?
There are things I might come over here for, like I said. I might come over if I was invited to a wedding. The other thing maybe I could be persuaded to come over here for, possibly, would be a college graduation, maybe.
Or an 18th birthday.
You know, that could be, well, that would be a little sooner, but if you really wanted me to come to a birthday party, I don't know that I could turn it down if...
Have to dance.
Well, I'm not much of a dancer, but I'd sure give it a shot.
Well, it's good to know, Dad, that you enjoyed your time here with us, even though, sadly, it's coming to an end. So we're just happy that you're back. I'm sure a lot of the viewers are happy that you're back. Imabel's happy, the whole family. So thanks for coming again.
Well, I enjoyed it. One thing that did surprise me is how much faster this last week went than the first two. It seemed like the last week here is only a few days.
Yeah.
I think this.
You know, it's like the last week we had to keep track of our days and stuff. But what day of the week it is and what the date is, because of our flight back, I've been trying to keep track of that. But the last week here just seemed like it went way faster than the first 2 weeks. You know, so you think you got more time, but it's like time sped up.
Yeah.
Well, let's just savor the moments.